Welcome to Church Unlimited. How's everybody doing today? We're so excited to see you guys here today. Thank you for joining us. Well, hey, you may be wondering, where is Pastor Bill? Well, today we've got a very special weekend. It is our student panel weekend. And we're going to be talking about something very specific today. But real quick, my name is Paul Zepeda. I'm one of our pastors on staff here, and I get an opportunity to serve at our broadcast campus as I serve the student ministry team here. But I've served at Rodfield, I've served at Stone Oak, and I've been back here for a little while at broadcast. And I want to tell you guys, today is going to be a very, very special day. But first, can we welcome all of our campuses? Padre Island, let's give it up for Padre Island. Rockport, Stone Oak, let me hear you.
Yes, sir.
Rodfield, online, and our prison ministry as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. That's right. We are one church in many locations. I also want to take a moment to honor our lead pastor and his wife, Miss Jessica. We are so grateful for you and who you are and your vision for the next generation. Because of your heart for them, we get an opportunity to do what we do. And again, you may be wondering what today is about, but today let's talk about something very quickly that's real for any parent, anybody who's really facing reality right now. There is a fear for what's going on for our future. We're scared for our children. If you're a grandparent, you may be fearful for your grandchildren. As a parent, especially your kids. The direction where the world is going today, it can be a very, very scary thing to think about. But today, we're here to give you some hope, okay? We're here to give you some practical insights and tips on how to connect with your students. And listen, we're all aware that there's this problem with youth culture. It's not what it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, much less a minute ago, okay? It is rapidly changing, and that evolution feels very, very fast. It can be very, very scary. And so listen, today we're not up here as experts, but we're up here as people who have had experiences and experience in our student ministry. So real quickly, let's introduce you guys to the audience real quick. Right here in the middle, we've got Miss Allie Orta. Would you guys please welcome Miss Allie today?
Hi, y'all. Like he said, my name's Allie. I'm the next gen associate here for youth students, and it's such an honor and privilege. I started as a volunteer, and then I got plugged in through the internship. And then after the internship, I was able to become on staff, and it's been fun since.
That's awesome. Love hearing that. Give it for Allie. Down here on the end, we got Mr. Kai. Mr. Kai, tell us a little about what you do and who you are.
Like you said, my name is Kai, and I have the honor and privilege of serving at the Stone Oak campus with the students. Yeah, I mean, I love what I do. I have fun while doing it, and like I tell any parent who meets me at Stone Oak, you're probably gonna hear me yelling once or twice. It's okay. I'm fine.
And then Pastor Joe, tell us about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Pastor Joe, and I did not get the silk shirt memo for today. I didn't know that was happening. But no, I'm our student ministry team lead, which means that I get to serve all of our locations over the student ministry. And I've been here for about 6 years at Church Unlimited, and love it ever since.
Give it up for your panel one more time. Well, listen, we want to dive right in right now. And so listen, we're going to open up with you, Kai. What happens on Wednesday nights? And what I mean by that, okay, talk to me a little bit about how you guys have created this programming, but also how students connect with other students.
I got you. So on Wednesday is really cool. To break it down, it starts off with fun. We're gonna have fun. Students is gonna be fun. It may be a little loud, but it's fun. It's cool. But then they have community because there will be other students their age, basically in the same phase of life that they're in. They also have teaching. When we're breaking down messages, we're really trying to pinpoint what's actually gonna stick with them, and nothing that's just gonna go over their head and it's not gonna touch. And then also they have mentorship. Because we have volunteers who are ready and who are pouring into your students day in and day out, not just on a Wednesday, not just on a Sunday, but each and every day. But we try to be intentional from the time that they walk in the door to the time that they leave. Every week we say we have an hour and a half to 2 hours the most. So we try to be intentional for that hour and a half, 2 hours from the very first second we see them. At Stone Oak, we had a story where a girl came in and she decided to start serving at kids because of students. She went and she was going through the orientation, and her mother started to explain to our kids director why she decided to stay with Church Unlimited. And the story was that she stayed because she felt so loved, and from the very first time she walked in the door, she had to have a conversation. I'm gonna be the person to walk up to you, hey, what's your name? what's this? What's that? We're gonna ask questions, and then my volunteers, they're coming right after. It's like a wave. You got to fight through zombies to get through. But we're gonna talk to them. We're really gonna try to get to know you. And that, while her mother's explaining that, she's sitting in the back and she's crying. And she's crying because she's thinking about how intentional we've been and how much she loves the community here. So we try to be intentional from the time they walk in to the time they leave. So
Yeah, I love that. And we can applaud that because that mixture of intentionality, that mixture of relationship building, that's not normal, guys. That really is moving past a youth group and becoming a student ministry. But we are one church of many locations, and we've got student leaders at all of our campuses. Let's talk about real quick what happens at those other campuses real quick, and maybe highlight who those leaders are. Can we do that?
Yeah. But before we do, I feel like as we go through, we got to throw some flashbacks because everybody didn't start off as a student leader.
That's right.
We started off as some students, so we might as well go ahead and start. I want to start with my guy Luke at Rockport. Rockport strong. Y'all know Luke. Luke is the 56. He's the one with the short arms. I always tease him about it, but don't worry. Love Luke. And then after this, Luke and his wife, that's Luke and Hannah, they're proud dog parents, strong. He tells us every time, you know what I mean? And then next we have Cam. Cameron is at the Padre Allen campus. He looks exactly the same.
Yeah, you'll see this picture. Same guy.
Exactly the same. And then this is his wife, Aaliyah, and they are actually expecting a baby boy soon. So that's
awesome.
Great for them.
Yep.
Yeah, we love that. Oh, Matty G. Matt is at our Roudfield campus, and that is Matt. Matt, I want y'all to understand, he picked this picture. It's not like we just dug it up. So he chose this, and he also picked this one. This is this is Matt. And then, obviously, we have me at the Stoner. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, speaking about picking your own picture,
wow.
He picked that picture. He thought this was the best one.
Yeah.
Listen.
You can't blame anybody for that one.
Listen, Gucci bucket hats was the thing, but I didn't have enough money for the Gucci, so I just said that one. So, yeah. And then that's me and my wife and my two boys.
They're also expecting another one.
That's right.
Expecting a third.
Yeah. But then we got Allie. Allie's not spared. You see her in her volleyball days.
Athlete Allie. Athlete Allie.
And then Allie and her dad and her mom. Her cool story about her father. He says I'm a guardian angel because I helped him fix a tire. Let's go, man. You see me. And then obviously we got my guy Joe, Hollister model.
That's me as a student. I'm thinking about bringing the hairdo back though. I think I might.
Oh yeah, that ain't it. Yeah.
And there's us as a family. That's my wife Amanda, my son Gideon, and we're actually expecting one more as well.
Yes, sir.
So,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Now,
That's awesome.
Pastor Paul, you're up here, so we had to throw it back for you as well.
Come on now.
Now I know everyone sees that vintage neck roll right there.
You guys
the
are
vintage
aging me,
thing.
man. Let's go. You're just mad because I wore that jersey all the time around the office.
Yeah.
I still got to flex a little bit. But hey, listen, parents, I'm also a parent. And so I've got an 8-year-old and a brand new 14-year-old. So he just celebrated his birthday this past week. And so a lot of the perspective that we're bringing today are different ages and stages, but the reality is the experiences that we're bringing. I hope you guys see that the value that's in there is because we care so much for students. It's not so much who we are, where we've been. And combined, we have about 36 years.
Yeah, 36 years of experience.
Across all of our campuses, and that's really not normal as well. We have a very unique situation here at Church Unlimited, and that's why I really believe that the future is bright for us as a church, especially as we reach the next generation. And you know, we talk a lot about student ministry, next generation, the now generation. But we also have a very strong parent culture here in our church. And in our student ministry, the parent culture is very strong, Pastor Joe. Talk to us a little bit about our parent culture here.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've seen recently is we've seen kind of a shift in our parent culture, and our parents are getting much more involved and much more dedicated. Probably the biggest way that we're partnering with parents is we've seen a bunch of parents just decide recently they're going to bring their students every single week. And they're going to be here. So they've had students that are coming every single week because their parents are bringing them. But a lot of times, they're not just bringing them and dropping them off and then driving away. We've had a lot of parents that are stopping, they're parking their car, and they're getting out with their student because they decided to serve with us. We've got a lot of parents that just recently are dedicating themselves to serving in the environment their kids are growing in. They want to come and make that an incredible environment for other people's kids as well. It's actually really cool. This past week, we had 684 students, which is awesome.
Come
but
on,
we also had
that church. That's this
cool.
past week.
This past week,
684.
But also we had 195 volunteers across our campuses as well.
You better applaud that
awesome.
even louder.
It's awesome.
That's time commitment. That's volunteering.
195
95
volunteers.
Now,
Yeah.
you tell me we can't find 5 more people?
5 more.
Break
We were
that
looking for
200
them.
barrier.
That's right. Well, they're out here. They're right here in the crowd.
That's right.
So we got to find these
they're right
guys.
out here. That's
So,
right. We're going to talk
yeah.
about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But let's not just get 5 more. Let's get 105. Let's
There we
break
go.
300
Go
altogether.
to 300. Well, it's actually really cool that you say that because, it's really important that we do bring in more volunteers because one of the things that we've experienced here at CU Students, but also statistics would tell you, is that you really have the ability to reach a ratio of 1 volunteer to every 3 students. So for every 3 students that you have, you need 1 volunteer to make sure that you're being intentional with them. So.
I love that you brought up the ratio. And when you're looking at it, the math is mathing. You see what I'm saying? The math is mathing. So we're basically at the point where we have reached the maximum amount of students intentionally because the number, that 1 to 3 number is not just about having a lot of people in one room. It's about being intentional. We don't get stories like I mentioned earlier or like some of the stories you'll hear later without that 1 to 3 ratio and those people who really want to pour into them. So parents, if you're sitting in a room and you're like, hey, I want my student to have their space. We love that you want your student to have their space, but we have plenty of students in the student ministry who need that parent figure over them, who need that parent figure to be pouring into them. We need that parent figure to love them. So we would love for y'all to come on and step into the ministry. You don't have to just drop them off. It's not just a young person zone. We would love to have you in there.
Well, it's really cool. It's talking about that, not just a young person zone. I had a guy that I was talking to that was saying, I just don't know if I'm cool enough because I'm a dad to volunteer. And I told him, I was like, not cool enough. I was like,
why are you looking at me?
well, you're a dad. But I was telling him, I was like, not cool enough, man. I was like, we need you. We need parents to step in because you bring a different experience. We have great young adults that serve in our ministry, and they're awesome. They're a blast. You saw them up here jumping around with the students and stuff. I was like, but we need dads too. And we need moms too that are going to step in. And some of those guys are our best volunteers.
Yeah,
so if you're thinking, maybe I'm too old, maybe I'm not, you're not too old. You're not cool enough. You're just the way that God designed for you to be, and there's a reason that parents are parents at the age that their parents at. So
yeah, that's a really great point, Joe. Because another way to spell time, right? Because that's really a time investment to be a volunteer. I think another way to spell time is LOVE, and that's the way you love that next generation. You show that they are important, that they're valued, and they need to hear that. Well, listen, let's dive right in because we know that there's some issues that are facing our teens. We want to be able to navigate that and give you guys some hope and helpful hints with that. And so the opportunity that we have right now is just to really focus on something that I think everybody thinks important. Matter of fact, there's one right here that hasn't been here for the last couple of services, and that's a cell phone. How many of y'all have cell phone anxiety when you can't find your cell phone?
100%.
Yeah, right now, some of y'all are actually searching and actually held up your cell phone. No, I got it, I'm good. Okay, it's good therapy for you, I get it, okay. Well, in this day and age of having phone anxiety, electronic anxiety, I really want to hear from Allie right now. Allie, what should parents do when they feel like their kids are tuning them out when they're also the ones who gave them the electronics?
Yeah, growing up, the times that I was tuning my parents out was because I was trying to become my own person. I was starting to make my own decisions and thinking that I was an adult when I really wasn't, and trying to make those decisions that I was learning from the world. We all have our phones and they're all gonna learn from somewhere. And you as parents have the ability to shape what that looks like. You have the ability to shape what their community looks like. And if their community is just what the world is telling them, that's gonna be a very, very dark path that they're going down. So you as parents, shape them with what their friends look like, shape them with what they are getting involved in at school, and then also bring them to church. Bringing them to church, they're going to find friends here. Now, not everyone's perfect, so we might have some interesting students, but at the same time, those students, they're all learning the same thing, which is becoming a follower of Christ. Yeah. And at that too, we have mentors here. Those mentors are echoing what you're saying at home. We want to see them get good grades. We want to see them make good decisions. We want to see them making those lifelong decisions and preparing them for success when they do become an adult and have to make those big decisions. Yeah. We want to prepare them for that future.
That's really good.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to add to that. I want to say, parents, you might bring a student, and the very first time they walk in the door, they'll love it. But you might bring a student, and it takes them 2 or 3 times. You might have a student who really doesn't want to come, and they tell you, no, I'm not going. I'm going to tell you, go ahead and bring them anyway. Yup. Go ahead and bring them anyway. The reason why we say this is because if you want them around the right community, then you have to create that environment where they are around the right community. Basically, I was reading, and it said that the things that we make optional as parents, they'll see as unnecessary. So let's not make it an optional thing. Like, hey, go enjoy your community. Go enjoy the time, because the more we can let them block it out, the more they will block it out. So parents, even if they don't want to come, go ahead and bring them.
Well, like,
good.
and even
So
talking about that, we had a student that, he came for the first, month, and he was trying to get plugged in and stuff, and sometimes he would kind of sit over on the side by himself. But then he had a life group leader that, this kid was really into scuba diving, and we got him plugged in with a life group leader who also was really into scuba diving. So maybe it took a little bit, but then he got connected. Now they've got a really great relationship. So I want to encourage you, just bring them. Just bring them.
Because they'll find uncommon interests like that in other people and other people that are willing to pour into them. Parents, just to get real again, around that age, 13, 14, 15, we were just sharing an article with you this past week, Pastor Joe and the rest of the team, that developmentally, that's when students begin to challenge the belief system that they've grown up in. And I think a lot of times as parents, we become fearful of that. And the reason why is because as we see them challenging us and the things that we've brought up in our home, that we say that we value, we say that are important. And that's why it's so awesome when you get the opportunity to bring students to a great environment like this, because you're going to find other adults, other young adults, other marrieds, they're going to be saying the same thing that you're saying around your dinner table. Yeah. They're actually going to be reaffirming your belief system, that the students are going to be hearing the same things on Wednesday nights, Sunday mornings, that they're also hearing in your home. And so what a great place where you have parents that are actually not just partnering with us, but they're serving us and then reinforcing this belief system.
Well, and even Pastor Paul, I know we're talking a lot to parents right now, but even just for all the students in the room. So anyone that's a student in the room right now, you're going to make decisions of what you're going to fill your life with. And you can either do it with what the phone is telling you, what culture is telling you, what society is telling you, that you need to be chasing after popularity. You need to be chasing after followers on social media. You need to be chasing after that party vibe. And all these things, you might think, these are going to be the things that are going to make me happy. These are going to be the things that are going to make me feel satisfied and full in life. But ultimately, all those things are going to fail you. They're all going to go away. But I think that's where you need to fill your life with community, with friendships, lifelong friendships, mentorship. And ultimately what you're doing when you do that is you're filling your life with Christ. And when you do that, that's the only thing that's actually going to satisfy you, that's not going to fail you.
No, thank you for bringing that up, because Joe, the reality is parents sometimes feel like they failed in those areas. And so that when they feel that challenge on that belief system, they're like, but I failed in that area. Maybe I struggled with partying. Maybe I made bad decisions when I was growing up. And I don't know how to navigate that with my teen. But again, the church is here to partner with you as you guys are navigating that together as a family. Well, Allie, again, I just want to bring this back to you real quick. We have over 195 volunteers, soon to be 300, right?
That's right.
At all of our
right.
campuses, okay? We're always looking for more, right? Because we want to reach more students. So, Allie, this one's for you. What does it actually take to be a volunteer here at Church Unlimited?
Yeah, so it's actually really simple to become a student's volunteer. The first thing that you need to do is say, hey, I want to volunteer. And then what we'll do is we'll get you to sign up. You can go to churchunlimited.com. There's an option on there that says serve, and you can click see students. There's also some other ministries on there that if you have questions about, you can look at as well. But after selecting what campus you would like to serve at, we'll send you some videos that'll go through a training process just to give you the heart and the why behind what we do as CU students. And then the next step after that is talking with our student directors, because they want to hear your heart as well. They want to know, hey, why do you want to get involved in student ministry? And what are some things that are unique about you that we can partner alongside you to get part of our family? And the biggest thing, don't let the fear come into your mind saying, I'm not qualified or I'm not good enough. Because that was me. I was sitting on the very, very far back row here at broadcast. And the thing with that was, I was like, I'm young. I don't think I'm equipped. I don't have all the Bible knowledge and all the theological answers to be able to give to these students. But the thing was, I had a very unique experience to be able to relate to students that maybe somebody else couldn't relate to. And the thing with that is, we will come and we'll help partner alongside you. We'll help give you the tools and things necessary to be able to pour into this generation. And at that, the biggest thing that you have to realize is we can all date back to that person that we can remember of who poured into us, right? The thing is, be that person you wish you had when you were growing up. Whether that was a coach or a teacher, or maybe somebody else's parents, or maybe your parents were those parents that was just the community that people were around. Be that person. That's the biggest thing.
I love that. That's huge. And that really is very simple, isn't it? sometimes we make it so complex because we're feared what we're actually bringing to the table, but the reality is the impact that you're going to bring is so worth it. Well, hey, Joe, we've been talking a little bit about me being a brand new teen parent, if you will, right? Navigating some of the things that I have recently with my son, and he's great, he's awesome, but at times I can also feel disconnected from him, right? And just because I'm a pastor doesn't mean I'm immune to that. And so I know that a lot of parents are probably relating to that statement right now. So talk to us a little bit. You know, I know teens say things to you, right? But how do I connect with my student when at times I feel very disconnected?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that I always talk with our volunteers about, and I think this works not just as a student volunteer, but as a parent, when you care about the things that they care about, they'll care about what you care about. So when you care about what they care about, they'll care about what you care about. And this is not just something that I made up. I think this is biblical wisdom. Philippians 2:4 would tell us each of us should not look only to our own interests, but also to the interests of others. So if you want to connect with your student, you just can't look at your own interests. You have to look at their interests as well. Like I remember my dad. My dad hated basketball. He did not like the NBA. He was a football guy. No, we watch football in this household, right? That was him. But then in 4th grade, I had a friend that invited me to be on his basketball team. So I joined his basketball team and loved it. And since then, I played basketball. I played basketball all through high school. I loved watching the NBA, college basketball. And my dad didn't love basketball, but because he loved me, he dedicated himself to learning about it. We started going to the Civic Center and playing basketball together. And really by him showing that he cared about what I cared about, I really knew that he cared about me. So then our relationship flourished.
Yeah, that's really a key developmental thing for you in your relationship with your dad. And we all want that as parents. And so we were talking this past week, what are some resources that we could give you and talk about? And one that we recently just purchased for $10 on Amazon.
Right.
It's a great book. What's the name of that book, Joe?
Yeah, so the book is called 5 Love Languages for Teens. It's by Gary Chapman. You might have heard about it for 5 Love Languages for Marriage, but it's just the same. You have to figure out what are your kids' love languages as well.
Yeah, and parents, $10. $10 could save you hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars worth of therapy in the future, okay? And so just spend a little time digging in that book, and I promise it'll be a great asset for you. Well, hey, Joe, this one's for you as well, okay? I really want to talk about, how we sometimes have this fear for our students, the culture, what culture's telling them, what the world's telling them. But you and I talked about something really key this past week, and I love that you said such a bold statement. You said, Pastor Paul, we here at Church Unlimited are not afraid of the future for the next generation. Unpack that for us.
Yeah, so when we were talking about it, the reason I said we're not afraid for the next generation is because we're not teaching our students to react to culture. We're teaching them to create the culture. We're not just teaching them to accept the culture. You got to create the culture. One of the verses that we live by is Romans 12:2, which says, "Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but instead be transformed by the renewing of your mind." So here at CU Students, we're not going to be conformed to the patterns of this world. The world is trying to throw things at you. It's trying to tell you this is right, this is what's good, this is what you should be doing, this is what it looks like to be a teenager, this is what it looks like, it's throwing all this different stuff at you, but we're not going to conform to those patterns. Instead, we're going to transform our minds with the inputs that we're putting in so that we can then go out and we can create the culture. One of the things,
Let's take a moment to applaud that, because you're not only learning this yourself, man, we are training and equipping all the student leaders to think this way, and they are following your lead like this, like never before.
Yeah, well, we've got something really cool that we're starting here at CU Students. I'm really excited about this. We're doing something called You Grow Groups, where what we're doing is, talking about inputs and what you're putting in your mind. We're trying to take our student ministry and make it something that's not just Wednesdays and Sundays, but it's 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. They're reading their Bible and stuff like that. So what we're doing is we're having our leaders select a few students, and then with those students, what they're going to do is throughout the week, they're going to be reading their Bible together, and they're going to be journaling about it, and then they're going to meet once a week in public spaces, and they're going to break it down. They're going to talk about what God is doing in their lives, what's He teaching them through all the different stuff that they're reading in their Bible. They're going to be holding each other accountable to being at church. Just all these different inputs that they're putting in their mind, right? And we really are taking this seriously. There's a verse in Philippians that says, "Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is lovely, whatever is pure, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent and praiseworthy, think about such things." And we want, the Bible is all of those things, obviously. So we want our students to be doing that every single day of the week, not just Wednesdays and Sundays. So that's why we're starting that. And that's really, I believe that's going to help us to transform the culture that's around us and that's around our students. Like, we have a story of a student in our ministry. He didn't know how to read his Bible. So we shared with him, hey, here's a quick formula of how you can read your Bible, quick 5-minute formula. Well, then he came back and he told us, he said, hey, I've been reading that. I've been reading my Bible. I read it every day last week, which I think is just really cool.
Hold on, can we stop there for a second? You got a student reading the Bible every day.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that you say it was a quick formula, but that transformation began to take place in his heart. And tell us what happened after that.
Yeah, well, it's actually, the story gets even cooler than that, because then his dad came up to us and told us, he said, hey, that formula you gave my son, my whole family's been doing it now. So the dad, the mom, the siblings, the son, they're all doing this formula, reading their Bible. You want to talk about transforming cultures, literally transformed their family culture just by getting in the Word with a simple, quick formula.
So what we're launching so that everybody can be a part of this and see this type of transformational growth in their student ministry and hopefully their family as well, as also as volunteers get involved, is our You Grow groups. And we've got a QR code on the screen behind us.
So maybe you're in a volunteer and you're like, hey, I want to be a part of that. I want to help students grow. I want to help the next generation, which really is, Pastor Paul, it's the now generation, because they're the ones that are taking over culture right now. I want to help. There's a QR code on the screen. You can sign up. Maybe you're a student in the room and you're saying, hey, I want that in my life. I want somebody helping me grow. I want accountability. I want all that stuff. Hey, you sign up as well. We'll look at the age and figure out if you're a volunteer, if you're a student, right? If you're 35, we're not going to be like, hey, that's a student. No, it's a volunteer.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
But we'll figure that out. But then we'll help you guys get plugged in and get involved.
Yeah, no, I love that. And when we were talking about today with Pastor Bill, God had really put a word on his heart. And I want to share that with everybody because I think it directly is in line with what you're saying right now. And it's Psalm 145, 4-7. And it says this: God does his work in every generation. He is not done. One generation commends your works to another. They tell of your mighty acts. They speak of your glorious splendor, of your majesty, and I will meditate on your wonderful works. They tell of the power of your awesome works, and I will proclaim your great deeds. They celebrate your abundant goodness and joyfully sing of your righteousness. Church, this is how you change a generation that changes generations. You start having people like us get involved with students like we have, and I promise you we'll never look back as a church or ever be worried about the future of the next generation. And listen, maybe you're feeling like, hey, this didn't connect with me as much. Let me remind you, it's either because you are a teen and you need to get involved, or you were a teen and you need to get involved. And there are many areas in this church that you can be involved in, whether it's in Kids Unlimited, whether it's in First Impressions, whether it's in every opportunity that we have with Spec Ops, with At the Movies it's coming. Get involved. And by doing that, you're partnering with us as we reach the next generation. Well, hey guys, as we're wrapping up, I'd like to do a quick lightning round. Can we do that real quick?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's fly through these real quick. All right. Favorite thing about student ministry, Kai?
Community, definitely. Yeah.
The worship.
I just love how fun it is.
How fun it is. Okay. Most memorable moment in student ministry so far that we can share from the stage?
I'm gonna say my middle school boys that I watched grow up, and now they're in high school. They're all getting bigger, literally taller. But I'm still stronger though. I still got them.
Yeah.
Dad's
You see what I'm
strength.
saying?
Dad's strength.
Yeah, I still got them. So yeah, seeing them grow.
I would have to say the golf carts at camp.
I said that we could share from stage. Okay.
Well, my favorite is, it happened this year, is last night of camp, it was the baptisms that happened there. That was awesome.
Yeah, baptism. Last night at camp. How many students were baptized again?
We had 121 students get baptized.
Guys.
Cool.
I mean, God is doing something in our student ministry.
Oh yeah,
It
definitely.
really is. There is a movement
Definitely.
happening, and we're really excited about that. Give us an encouraging word about student ministry or youth culture in general.
I would just say students are seeking God.
They definitely came back different from camp, and you can even tell with just the way that they're walking and talking.
I would say your students will influence people around you that you don't even realize. Like those middle school boys I mentioned earlier, they influenced me to really step into the calling, to step into ministry. Without those boys, I was going to shy away from it. But with them, I realized that I couldn't lead them somewhere that I've never been. So it made me want to grow in order to lead them. Your students will influence people around you that you won't even think about. So.
I love that, Kai. That's awesome. That's a great note to end on. So here's what we've heard today. How do you connect with your student or your teenager? Man, care about what they care about. Take that time to invest in them. And that applies to really anybody that you're wanting to connect with and show care about. You also heard today, hey, I'm not a teen, but I can help. There's a place for me and a space for me in this church where I can be involved, be connected, and make a difference and help minister to others. You also heard this. We as a church do not have to fear for the future of our teens or the church. God has it all in his hands, and as long as we continue to do what we do, as we set out on this mission to take as many people to heaven as we can before we die, period, we get an opportunity to impact that change like never before. So church, let's be that church. And Pastor Joe, it's all founded on the relationship with Jesus Christ. So why don't you talk to us about what it means to have a relationship with him?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the reasons that we're so passionate about what we get to do in student ministry is because every week in our different environments, we see students give their life to Jesus. And I think it's really cool because, the world, like we talked about a little bit earlier, will tell you that there's all these different things you need to be chasing. And that's for students, it's for parents. Parents, it's telling you need to chase money, career, status. Students is telling you need to chase social media, followers, popularity, all these different things that ultimately, if you keep chasing these things, eventually are just going to leave you feeling unsatisfied and empty. But there's only one thing that can truly make you feel satisfied, and that's Jesus. The world was designed and it was created, and Adam and Eve were put down in the garden, and God said that it was good. And when he said it was good, what he meant was it's perfect. Everything was exactly the way that it was designed to be, and humans were in perfect relationship with God. But then because of their sin and because of our sin as well, our relationship with God is broken. But God loves us so much that he didn't want to have a broken relationship with us. He wanted to have that relationship. So what he did was he sent his son Jesus into the world. And Jesus was fully God and fully man at the same time, and he lived a perfect life. Never once did anything wrong, never once made a mistake. And at the end of his life, they hung him on a cross. He was crucified. And the Bible says that while Jesus was hanging on the cross, he was bearing the weight of our sin and our shame on his shoulders. Jesus died the death that we deserve. He took our punishment. And then he died, and he was buried in the grave. And for 3 days, Jesus was in the grave. But after the third day, he rose again, defeating death and defeating sin, so that we no longer have to be disconnected from God, but we can be connected back to him in a real relationship with him. So what do we have to do to accept that? Well, the Bible would tell us in Romans 10:9, it says, "For if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved." So right now, with everybody's head bowed and eyes closed, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say a prayer together. And we're all gonna say this together so that nobody says it alone. But if that's you today, for the first, last, and only time, you just wanna make the decision to give your life to Jesus, I'm just gonna ask you to pray this with me and just mean it with everything that you have. Say this with me. Say, "Dear Jesus, I know I'm a sinner. And I know I've sinned against you. But Jesus, you love me and you died for me. I give you my life and I give you everything. Thank you, Jesus, for saving me." Right now, with your head bowed and your eyes closed, if that's you today, for the first, last, and only time, you just gave your life to Jesus and started a relationship with him, I'm gonna ask you to do something simple but bold. I'm just gonna ask you to raise your hand right now across all of our campuses. If you just gave your life to Jesus, just raise your hand right now. All across the room, raise it high. Raise it high if that's you. All locations, Broadcast, Rodfield, Rockport, Padre, Stone Oak. Church online, if that's you, click hand raised right now. Prison ministry, if you just gave your life to Jesus, raise your hand right now. And that's awesome. Well, God, we love you. Lord, we praise you. We thank you for who you are. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.